Hello, in this tutorial video we are going to build an app in Node.js and fetch some weather data from an open weather API. So let's first get the API key from the openweathermap.org. So if you haven't created your account, you can create an account here. It's free, and after creating an account and logging in, you can go to my API keys, and okay, I have to log in again. Okay, so here are my API keys that I have already generated. You can generate as many API keys as you want. Okay, just copy the API key and create a folder for the project directory weather app. Okay, weather app, and the text editor that I'm going to use is Sublime weather app.js. Okay, so the next step we are going to do is load a module that is node fetch. The second thing we are going to do is declare a variable for the API key, and you can paste the API key from the openweather.org here. The next thing we are going to do is define the variable for the city for which we are going to fetch the weather. The third thing is the API URL. For the API URL, go back to openweathermap.org, go to the API tab and go to current weather data API document. Here you can get the API endpoint that we are going to use for fetching the weather data. Just copy it and paste it here. Just add HTTP. Okay, so here we can concat our city variable and the API key variable, API key. Okay, now we are going to use the fetch module, pass the URL here. We are going to use, then here we have response arrow function, response dot JSON. The second line we are going to add is data response dot data. Sorry, it's console.log and pass the data object. The third thing we are going to use is catch if there is an error. The third thing we are going to use is catch. There is an error, we are going to catch that error and console log that error. Okay, for this application to run successfully, we need to install a module called node fetch. Okay, go back to the command line within the project directory and run this command np install node fetch. Okay, node fetch is not installed. Now we can run our weather app. Okay, it generated an error. Looks like I have a typo in my code. So go back to the code and you can see instead of using API URL, I was using just URL. So just place that, save it, back to the command line and run the app again. One more important thing is to, when you are concatenating variables into another string or a variable, you need to use tilde sign instead of single quotes. So just use tilde sign and go back to the command line, and okay, now we have the weather data for London. You can see it here. So one thing you can see it here, temperature is being given in Kelvin, that's 283.24. So for that purpose we can go back to our code and add an additional parameter, units equal to metric. Save it, go back to, and now you can see the temperature is coming in Celsius. So okay, we can further parse this data so it's something useful for the user. The weather, the temperature in data dot name, the name of the city is data dot main dot temp. Let's save it and go back to the terminal and run it. So you can see we have now something useful, is the temperature in London is 9.94 Celsius. That's it for this course. See you next time. Bye.